say? What is the missing link here?
The missing link is this. You cannot get peace in Baku, given the historical antecedent of what has happened over the period, without bringing the feuding factions together. The last check I understood, Otunfo was at the blink of bringing the feuding factions together. Then all of a sudden we had certain disturbances and we never heard anything about it. Government cannot continue to recycle the same strategy that has happened over the period that is not bringing any results. We have to look at new strategies. And if you look at the Baku conflict as it is now, people think it's about chieftaincy. It goes beyond chieftaincy now. It has assumed social and economic and political dimensions. And we have to look at aspects in peace building that we can utilize. People, these two feuding factions can trust. But if you want to do it the way we have always done it, MPP comes support one faction, NDC come and supporting another faction, it will not help anybody. And at the end of the day, it's the country that will lose. Look at the needless lives we are losing.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much. Emmanuel Kuting, he's a security analyst. You're still here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Bismarck Awusa is standing by with the latest in business. Stay with us.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, government pushes for debt haircuts to save telecom firm AT amid $200 million debt and monthly losses of $20 million. We'll hear from Sector Minister Samuel Nate George. I am Bismarck Awusa. Now to our very first story. Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George, has revealed that telecommunication firm AT's debt portfolio currently stands at $200 million following a debt restructuring arrangement. According to him, the company continues to face financial challenges with monthly operating losses amounting to $20 million. Addressing the press in Accra, the sector minister emphasized the urgency of addressing the situation, stating that steps are being taken to renegotiate haircuts with creditors to ensure AT's viability.
It's one of the biggest headaches I've had. And like I said, this is debt that was not acquired by government or did not happen by failure of government, but simply by the policymakers' decision to buy a company that was struggling. Poor management on the part of two private entities, Bharti Airtel and Millicom Ghana, who had run Airtel and Tigo into the ground. We had no business intervening the way we did to take over 400 million of debt and claim that we had bought the company for $1. But that's where we are today. In the past 8 weeks, I have engaged with ATC at the country level, at the Africa level, and at the headquarters level. I've met with a team from the US on this matter. We have made some headway. I mean, the city value term of the debt to ATC is about 1.5 billion Ghana cedi. We've heard of the incident of a senator threatening to block IMF payments all because of ATC debt. But we've had very constructive conversations even with the American ambassador, and they've come to a position where they're willing to take a significant haircut. As it stands right now, the offer on the table is somewhere in the region of about 500 million. So we are saving about $1 billion of the debt. We are getting them to write that off. But I'm still pushing for even more.
And that was Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George. Now, a professor of finance at the Gimpa Business School, Ebenezer Bugri Anafo, is urging government to revise the 2025 budget to focus on essential projects and minimize its deficit. His call is on the back of continuous decline in global crude oil prices, raising concerns over Ghana's 2025 oil revenue target. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiel Atuforsen has projected total oil and gas receipts of 16.5 billion cedis in the 2025 budget statement at about $76 per barrel.
This poses a significant revenue threat to government of Ghana in terms of revenue generation. It has a lot of economic implications. This shows that we are likely not to raise enough in terms of our crude oil export to support the budget. And also, this will also impact on the value of the cedi because a reduction in the crude oil price will also would mean that we will not be able to generate enough foreign exchange to be able to support the Ghana cedi. So, government of Ghana will have to revise the budget to ensure that they only spend on projects that are essential. Non-essential projects have to be deferred.
You heard Professor of Finance at Gimpa Business School, Ebenezer Bugri Anafo. Investors showed strong appetite for government treasury bills in March 2025, submitting 47.5 billion cedis in bids, 47.2% above the month's target. But despite the oversubscription, the government recorded its first shortfall in 13 weeks, as accepting 29.8 billion cedis, 7.5% below target, as it continued to reject expensive bids. Investor interest in government treasury bills remained high in March 2025, with total bids hitting 47.5 billion cedis. That figure represents a 47.2% oversubscription above the gross target. However, the government recorded its first undersubscription in 13 weeks during the final two auctions of the month. Authorities accepted 29.8 billion cedis in bids, falling short of the indicative target by 7.5% or 2.4 billion cedis, as they continued to reject costly bids in a falling interest rate environment. Yields on treasury bills fell sharply in March, averaging an 863 basis point drop. The 91-day bill fell to 15.71%, the 182-day to 16.73%, and the 364-day to 18.84%. Analysts attribute the softened demand to investors reassessing allocations amid the steep drop in nominal yields. Market watchers expect yields to stabilize near current levels in the short term, especially as the government maintains spending discipline and inflation trends downward in the second half of the year. Meanwhile, government plans to raise 6.68 billion cedis through T-bills this Friday, April 11, to refinance maturing bills worth 6.43 billion cedis. And that was the 3 Business News Desk report. In a related development, the Bank of Ghana supported the foreign exchange market with $264.4 million in March 2025 to preserve the stability of the cedi. This enabled the cedi to enjoy a calm market session in the month, with the local currency being virtually static at 15.5 cedis to a US dollar. This occurred as ample foreign liquidity persisted on the local market. Meanwhile, the Ghana cedi will sustain its stability in the retail market in April 2025, despite starting the week on a weak note. This is coming following the Bank of Ghana's rate hike and liquidity curbing measures to tighten its grip on foreign exchange demand, while the ongoing domestic gold buying program remains a source of foreign exchange supply. Before we go, in a strategic move to enhance its brand presence, Bills Microcredit Limited, one of the leading microfinance institutions in Ghana, has unveiled a new brand ambassador, celebrated actress Gloria Osei-Safo. The move comes as the company continues to expand its reach and reinforce its commitment to providing accessible financial services for all Ghanaians. We will bring you that sound later, and that will be all for Business News on Hot Edition with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Reku Ampofo is here for the sports. Do stay.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on CFM 92.7. My name is Oreku Ampofo. We start off from women's football, where the Black Queens of Ghana suffered a late 1-0 defeat to Senegal in a friendly on Tuesday. The loss comes just days after Kim Boykagen's side had secured a narrow victory in the first encounter, with Evelyn Bedu scoring the decisive goal. The latest result means the Black Queens have now recorded 2 defeats and 1 win in 3 matches under the new head coach. Coach Oikegren has acknowledged the need for further improvement, stating there's still a lot of work to be done with the team ahead of the AFCON.
And in the end, I think it was a close game. Not so many chances for any of the teams. Normally a 0-0 game, but they scored, and there's nothing I can do about it now. So it's just congratulations to Senegal. I think we can play a better football. So that's the part I'm gonna take with me. But we're also in a process that we have start with the defense since I came in, and now we're start to build a little bit low, how we can use the central midfielder. The final part is to connect with the attacking player, and in these 2 games we couldn't do that. So I think that will be my job in the next camp, to connect all the pieces. And if we do that, we're going to be a much better team. But I still think that the poor performances could be better, even if we won the first one.
And so that was head coach of the Black Queens, Kim Oikegren, speaking there, assessing the readiness of the team ahead of the Women's AFCON, which will be played in Morocco in a couple of months' time. Away from that, let's do some stories on the continent, because some of the quarterfinal games in the CAF Champions League concluded on Tuesday with some interesting results. South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns beat Tunisian giants Esperance 1-0 on aggregate to book a semi-final spot for the second consecutive time as they aim to win the title again. Sundowns goalkeeper and captain Ronwen Williams exuded confidence and a strong sense of destiny following the hard-fought qualification for the semi-finals. He lauded the team's resilience and stressed off the victory.
Amazing. This one is up there with one of the best. Just because of the desire and the character from the team to dig deep. It's not easy coming here. You know, we knew it was going to be a fight. Obviously, we knew they're going to come guns blazing. But, you know, we stood firm and we hardly gave them a sniff. So kudos to the technical team for the game plan, and kudos to all the players, you know, for standing up and showing character. Obviously, we knew they're going to come out. They were chasing the game, you know, and when we beat them at home, we changed history of the club, you know, because we haven't beaten them before. So when we beat them at home, I knew and I had a feeling that this year it's ours, you know, and the coach obviously played an important role. Obviously he knows them, you know, so he gave us all the insights, he gave us all the how they're going to play, what they're going to do, the possibilities. So we knew their threats, we knew their weaknesses, and we knew it's going to be a game of small margins, you know, and that's exactly how it was last year. And, you know, we want to grow as a team, because last year I think they had 2 chances in both legs and they went all the way to the final. And I think this year we probably had 2 chances, we took 1, and sometimes that's all it takes.
So we still stay on the CAF Champions League, and I'll just go through the full complement of the results just to give you a sense of how things look like in the semi-finals. Record winners Al Ahly beat Al Hilal 2-0 on aggregate to book their place in the last 4, while Pyramids, also from Egypt, went past AS FAR Rabat 4-3 on aggregate on scoreline. The last quarter-final game saw Orlando Pirates also beat MC Alger 1-0 on aggregate, which means that Orlando Pirates will face Pyramids and then Sundowns face Al Ahly. Potentially, we could have an all-South African or all-Egyptian final in the CAF Champions League. Speaking of the Champions League, let's head to Europe, because Arsenal claimed a 3-0 win over Real Madrid on Tuesday, placing the Gunners in a good position to qualify for the semi-finals of this season's competition. With teams like FC Barcelona and Aston Villa set to feature tonight, my colleague Billy Shan brings you a recap of the action from Tuesday's matches and a preview to what to look forward to tonight.
What a performance from Arsenal against Real Madrid at the Emirates. What a double free kick by Declan Rice. I think Arsenal just puts Real Madrid to the sword. I expected the Gunners to actually win this encounter, but I didn't expect the scoreline. 3-0 is a very solid cushion for the Gunners going ahead into the second leg at the Bernabeu. I think if Arsenal manage to try and keep that defensive solidity, they will definitely qualify to the semi-finals for the first time since 2009. Also, Inter Milan, very, very brilliant result from them, managing to get that 2-1 victory over Bayern Munich. I think it puts them in a very good position, knowing that they'll be going back to their home ground for the second leg. And Bayern Munich have a lot of injuries to deal with, and so it looks like a done and dusted one for Inter Milan, and they will be reaching the semi-finals. That Barcelona-Dortmund game is also one to watch. I believe that Barcelona have enough quality to be able to get one over Dortmund. Then there's also that matter of PSG versus Aston Villa, one very keen one to watch, because Unai Emery will be playing against his old club, and that is one that will be a very strong test for him, also knowing that PSG have been really fantastic on the domestic level, already winning the league, and they've shown that they are a team that can beat anyone in the Champions League as well. Ousmane Dembele is on form. Kvaratskhelia is also playing very well. Desiree Doué playing very well as well. So it's going to be a very action-packed day on Wednesday. But kudos to Arsenal, kudos to Inter Milan. They're in a very good position to qualify for the semi-finals. They have 1 foot in each. And so very good performance from them.
That was my colleague Billy Shan bringing an end to sports segment here on Hot Edition. You can get updates of all the games that he mentioned and more on our social media handles at 3SportsGH or on 3News4S/sports. My name is Ore Kwampofo, and Hot Edition continues right after this.
In a 3FM 60-day Fit Start Challenge. Which team will come up tops? Will it be Team Comfort or Team Helen? Will age and tact act triumph? Or will youth and energy win? 3FM Fit Start is sponsored by Daffy's Health and Beauty, Bill's Microfinance and Ugel Premier, and supported by Blue Skies and the Ghana Medical Association. 3FM Fit Start. Your health, your journey, your victory.
Welcome back. This is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in one beyond. The Ministry of Communications and Digitalization and has also announced that it will not renew its contract with Kelny GVG, the private company managing Ghana's telecom traffic monitoring system, once it expires. The Minister for Communications, Samuel Nate George, made this known at a press briefing in Accra, citing concerns over the escalating cost of monitoring, which he said now accounts for 84% of the revenue generated. The Common Monitoring Platform contract, which was initiated in 2018, was designed to track international inbound calls and prevent revenue leakage within the telecommunications sector. However, Samuel Natejor disclosed that the cost of operating the platform had risen sharply from 28% of revenues at the inception to 84% as of October 2024.
Recognizing how critical prudent expenditure management is to Ghana's economic recovery, the Mahama administration has pledged to fight corruption and graft registration or re-register. In line with this commitment, one of my first actions was to conduct a comprehensive assessment of the ministry's financial position to guide how best to move forward. This review unearthed several irregularities, prompting a detailed investigation into the contracts entered into the ministry, through the ministry and its agencies on behalf of the Ghanaian people. The ministry is following up with the relevant parties to establish the facts and take corrective action where necessary. We're deeply concerned about the disregard for public interest reflected in the unfavorable terms in some agreements and the resistance encountered in accessing key information from certain service providers. Against this backdrop, I've referred some contracts and agreements to the Attorney General for his study and advice. One thing, however, is crystal clear to me as Minister. I will clean up the ministry and its agencies. It is my solemn pledge to the President and the people of Ghana. And I wish to announce that on the back of the foregoing, I will not be extending the Common Monitoring Platform contract, popularly called KELNI GBG, beyond this current terminal date. The contract is in two parts. One paid for by my ministry through the NCA, and another component paid for by the Ministry of Finance through the GRA. The NCA will no longer extend the KELNI GBG contract. I've instructed the NCA to begin to hold itself in preparedness to carry out the revenue assurance platform on its own. This position is backed by the fact that at the commencement of the contract in 2018, the monthly fee the NCA paid the private partner represented 28% of the revenue accruing to the state from international inbound traffic. As we speak today, as at October 2024, the fees paid to KELNI GBG have moved from 28% of revenue to 84% of the revenue. This means the state is paying far more to monitor the revenue than it retains.
Meanwhile, government says it is aggressively pursuing policies to reduce the cost of data and improve internet quality across the country. Minister for Communications, Digitalization and Innovation touched on the matter during his press engagement.
In February, I established a multi-stakeholder data cost pricing committee comprising telecom service providers, consumer groups, and the regulator. The committee was given a 14-day mandate to deliver a roadmap for implementation to achieve more cost-effective data prices. The committee delivered its report in 13 days. I'm grateful to all the stakeholders who worked assiduously and at no cost to the state. I repeat, at no cost to the state to produce a short, medium, and long-term approach to data price rationalization in our country. Again, I say Ayiko to them for their selfless service to our country. I have studied the roadmap documents that they produced and referred it to the regulator, the NCA. The authority under the able leadership of the Acting Director General has held several engagements with mobile network operators to discuss and fashion out implementation plans and modalities. I have personally engaged with the CEOs of the three MNOs, and I am pleased to announce that all three have presented the ministry and the regulator with specific improved data bundles for tertiary students across our country, as well as for content creation and gig economy demographics. In the coming days, the NCA will finalize the implementation and technical requirements with the relevant stakeholders for public rollout of the specific data bundles. And it's a unique identifier. In the interim, I have agreed with all three mobile network operators to have unique data bundle packages for all of their subscribers, which is all Ghanaians, on 5 national holidays: Independence Day, May Day, Republic Day, Founders Day, and Farmers Day. The Independence Day test run was a resounding success, and I look forward to working with the NCA and the MNO on May Day for our next holiday offering and celebration of the workers of Ghana. I have also noted several complaints about the quality of service of almost all the network providers in the country. This past week, I have taken decisive policy decision to approve technology neutrality and additional spectrum for MTN Ghana. I've also directed the NCA to make an additional spectrum offer to Telecel Ghana. These are to provide both operators with more resources to improve their service offerings and quality of service.
Samuel George is Minister in charge of Communication, Digitalization and Innovation.
Now, the Commercial National Motor Okada Riders Union has kicked against the 25 years age limit for commercial motorcycle riders. The union is therefore proposing 18 years as age limit for their members. The National Public Relations Officer of the Okada Riders Union, Solomon Akpanaba, who spoke to 3FM earlier, said that they intend to petition the president on this development.
S1, who says that one must attain 25 years of age before he go through the process to be accepted as a legal operator of Okada business. That one alone is what we are contesting, and we are saying that 80 years are made to vote. So there is a reason why they didn't say everybody should vote, but only 80 years is qualified to vote. 21 years old person is qualified to be a member of parliament. They didn't say 25 years. So the 18 years person, Ghanaian, that we asked him to vote for John Mahama and NDC. And there was a narrative that one is a second-hand president and the other is a tear-over president. That 18 years guy was able to see between a second-hand and a tear-over who has the requisite experience to rule Ghana and voted for the second-hand. That same 18 years guy, when he's at the traffic light, he's supposed to wait for a minute or 2 minutes before the green light will show up for him to go. He will be able to make the right decision. Unless he is not trained, we have always insisted that it is training that reduces accident, not the 25 years. If you are 25 years and you are not trained, you sit on a vehicle, you will mess up. If you are 18 years and you are trained, you will do the right thing. That is why the 18 years is qualified to join Ghana Police. And as soon as he joined the Ghana Police, he qualified to be a dispatch rider. Once he is trained, he can lead the government entourage from Kumasi to Accra or from Accra to North.
And you heard the spokesperson of the Okada Riders Association.
The Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment has said the government is prepared to engage in consultations with organised labour regarding post-retirement contract extensions. However, Dr. Rashid Purple emphasised that until these consultations are completed, President John Dramani Mahama will not approve any contract extensions for public sector employees approaching retirement.
The president's decision not to approve contract extensions for public sector workers has sparked unrest among some workers. On Tuesday, April 8, organised labour appealed to the president to initiate broader consultations on the issue. Just 24 hours after the appeal, Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment Dr. Rashid Purple clarified that the president has not violated any laws. He indicated that contract extensions could be granted to individuals with critical skills, but emphasized the government's intention to engage organised labour on the matter.
An approval that must come from the presidency. He decides that, look, I have enough budgets, I can spend more money, so I can admit somebody who has retired to continue for another 2 years. So everything is dictated by the economy, the direction of the economy, the substance, the capacity of the economy to facilitate the process. The social aspect of it is that we need young people to get into jobs. You don't keep the people who have retired in as if to suggest that we don't have people. We can still have the consultations. And so if people think that it is something to discuss, why not?
In another development, the minister expressed concern over the salaries of public sector workers. He highlighted the recent 10% salary increase, noting that the government had secured an additional 4 billion cedis to cover the payment. While acknowledging the peaceful labour environment, Dr. Rashid Purple appealed to the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, and the Graduate Students Association of Ghana, GRASAC, to allow the government some space to address their grievances.
We are looking at NATS, GRASAC, and all the institutions that begin to have problems. And these are existing challenges they are facing. We have come to the point when we can tackle them. We are tackling them, and we want them to understand us that this new regime we have is a listening regime.
Additionally, he revealed that the Ghana Labour Market Information System, GLMIS, has received an increasing number of job applications.
We are building that market system and then, get all young people into it so they can easily identify if you are interested in, I've seen many people asking for oil companies and oil department. We will let it be available to you. You look in and see the structure of the department, the jobs that are taken, those that are available, and those that you can apply immediately.
As the Minister for Employment, Labour there, Dr. Rashid Pelpo.
And a member of parliament for Garu, Dr. Thomas Anaba, has tasked security agencies to fix all porous borders with a view to prevent the illegal influx of opioids across borders. He spoke to me earlier on Agenda last night on TV3.
If Ghana government wants to block our borders to prevent opioids from illegally entering into the country, it must be able to do it. If opioid is being brought in illegally and is destroying our youth, those who are supposed to take care of this country in future, it is the duty of the country, the government, to push the military, the police, whoever, to block the borders. All the unapproved roads must be identified. The military have the duty to identify all unapproved roads. Immigration has the duty to identify all unapproved roads. The moment a new one is created, they have to go and block it. That is their work. That is what we pay them for. We can't sit down and just throw our hands and say we are porous borders, so we can't do anything. But whilst our youth are dying.
Meanwhile, a psychologist and Vice Dean of Student Affairs at the University of Ghana, Legon, Dr. Charles Brenya Wiafia-Kenting, has also urged stakeholders to intensify awareness creation as a pathway to dissuade the use of opioids in Ghana.
I assume that people know that what they are doing is wrong, but not always. So I will go back to the usual issue about education, sensitization. And that is where the media comes in. The media have played a significant role in the past. I can recall when President Kufuor knocked out the 4 zeros from the CDs. It was something that almost everybody heard. Why? Because on radio, television, different languages at different time. During COVID, there were a lot that we heard. Faseminaye kind of trying to keep clean. So we need to educate, sensitize. Then the next step should be the enforcement. We need to up our game. We need to enhance it. I think that is not up to a level that we expect, especially looking at the rate at which it's being individuals are engaging in it. So the enforcement, then we get from the enforcement those who are caught. Either they are the big guns or the smaller ones that are pushing, they must be prosecuted.
And he had the psychologist and Vice Dean of Student Affairs at the University of Ghana, Dr. Charles Brenya Wiafia-Kenting, also speaking on Agenda earlier last night.
Also live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 and Tamale on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Now, the king and overlord of the Dagmang Kingdom, Ndan Yana Abukari, the second, has admonished Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executive nominees for the Northern Region to prioritize the development of their respective assemblies rather than using the office for their selfish interest. He emphasized that their nomination is a testament of their hard work and urged them to prove such abilities in their new offices. The king also urged the respective assembly members to confirm the nominees to speed up development. Let's take a listen to Yana Abukari the second.
Is a habin bella. Come as answers whatever. To a cab, Tamal Benda Prima, Binyala and Vopia, Kabuta Corondima, Zabenda Prima, Benendima. So come Fabenda. So come da Fabenda. Quoting in a yenny, Bezano and Yanga, Quoji, can you have a mintam? Mintam Mammy Peloy and Tour Lala not to Tirba. Wayambula Swashanga Dinian Chaka Tumakana, Kaso Kamtum, Aliagonson Kana, Obolena.
You were mainly looking for the position, but you were fortunate to be picked. You have to work to bring development to the people. There is the need for you to work with everyone, because without peace, there cannot be development. And so see yourselves as leaders appointed to serve and not be served.
looking at sanitation.
We think that you should move away from the current way of determining minimum wage and base pay in this very country. We think that what we need to.
Now, the Trade Union Congress, TUC, has called on the government to immediately suspend the privatization of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. Secretary General of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, spoke earlier to our Labour Affairs correspondent, Daniel Opoku, about this.
We think that you should move away from the current way of determining minimum wage and base pay in this very country. We think that what we need to begin discussing, we need to do, is to think about how do we get to the living wage, which takes care of a family of about 4. As for minimum wage, it's nothing to write home about. But we think that there must be some mechanism in place that begins to talk about minimum wage. How do we get there? The tripartite committee should begin thinking about that. The current form of determining minimum wage doesn't help. I think that must be changed. It must shift from the minimum wage to think about living wage.
But is it not the law that is creating that?
Oh, there's a formula. It's not all that the law, but there's a formula which we use in calculating or determining minimum wage. And we think that law doesn't fit this time around, because it's about inflation, it's about the economy, it's about replacement. How do you call it? I don't get a word to use to replace the lost value of the minimum wage. We think that all these factors doesn't work for now. I think we would have to begin to change the formula and also think about how do we get to a living wage.
But generally, would you say salaries are okay for work?
No, please, it's not. It's not at all. Nobody in this country can say that salaries are okay for workers. But I think that we must do something about it to ensure that workers are paid adequately, so that they can also do their best and produce their best. And when we talk about productivity,